Is it just me, or I don't know, I appreciate to the fullest when a villain does something opposite of what a lot of villains, especially in shonen manga and anime, do that I cannot stand, and that's why I'm rocking with Katakuri to the fullest. Now, this chapter a little bit threw me off towards the end, I ain't gonna lie, but something about what he did almost at the start of this chapter, I was like, because a lot of villains in anime and manga, they always underestimate their opponents. And Katakuri's like, you think I'm gonna underestimate you, bro? I'm coming for blood. I'm coming to finish this shit. We ain't playing no more. And when Luffy was about to use, I believe he called it muscle balloon, and Katakuri bopped him and said, why would I do something that I know is gonna let you get stronger? I was like, yes, 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 because a lot of series, they like to use that honor thing and, you know, pride, and it's like, oh, why would I attack somebody when they're about to, no, I want to see the fullest. No! You gotta be strategic, you gotta be smart, and you gotta, if you want to win the fight, not allow your opponent to continue to progress and grow in strength, because then it's gonna be like, yo, I want to win this shit, you know what I'm saying? Why would I allow you to continue to get to a point where you might be able to kick my ass? So Katakuri in the beginning of this chapter, I was like, thank goodness. It showcases his character. He don't play around. He don't play games. He's out for blood. He wants to win this, period. He wants to kick Luffy's ass. And he's not going to allow him to, you know, continue to get stronger and then eventually bop him. So beginning of the chapter, Katakuri already. And then he basically bodied Luffy and went to go celebrate. And I'm like, okay. And a lot of people, it's a little bit controversial because a lot of people are kind of like back and forth between how they felt about the reveal of Katakuri's mouth and also the reveal of the exact opposite of something that I was praising Katakuri, because I believe it was last chapter, if I'm not mistaken, we found out based off of Brûlé that Katakuri is a boss. He looks down literally on the ground, or figuratively. He looks down like, I don't lay on my back, bro. You crazy? What I look like, a whore? You think I'm laying on my back, bro? I never once. He came out of the vagina and sat up and was like a boss. You know what I'm saying? So this chapter reveals one of the biggest weaknesses, and you could argue, maybe some people can call like, it was a cop-out, a cheap way out for Luffy to find a weakness or some way where he could get in and actually get some hits on Katakuri. But nevertheless, it seems as though one of his weaknesses has to do with his mouth and also his little celebration of eating. And it really showcases that even though Katakuri, he's obviously more so of a bad guy, you could say, I mean, that's one of Big Mom's kids, you know what I'm saying? Big Mom, she's a yonko, she's a nasty ass woman. We know all about Big Mom, you know what I'm saying? But he's very similar to Luffy. It looks as though he really does love to chow down. And when we got the reveal of Katakuri and he's laying on his back, I was kind of like, okay, you know, I'm not going to be, because I could have taken it in a way of like, damn, I'm disappointed. I thought Katakuri was a boss. He said he never laid down once. This man is an OG. Then we see that when it comes to, I guess, donuts or just food in general, I'm not sure if it's just food or his favorite foods or whatever, the man likes to lay down and relax. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, it does humanize him a little bit, and it does show like, yo, even the most fiercest motherfuckers, when they want something and they want to enjoy themselves, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Just fuck it. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to be really disappointed. I could have taken it in a way of like, oh, it takes back everything I felt of the hypeness and the epicness of Katakuri. But even the most fiercest, nastiest motherfuckers have their little, you know what I'm saying, their little quirks of what they like to do that maybe is a little zany and silly. And a lot of people always forget, One Piece, it can get really serious, and this has been a really serious fight. And I think that's one of the reasons why Oda made that happen with Katakuri and made it a little bit goofy, because this has been a serious, desperate situation for Luffy. Luffy has gotten the living shit kicked out of him. So this chapter, he took it upon himself to make it a little bit goofy. Luffy ate his way through out of that shit and became really big and then burned it off. And then the reveal with Katakuri, it was like throwing a little bit of, you know, comedy into something that's been pretty serious. I remember it was, what, 2 or 3 chapters back, where it's like the Straw Hats is about to get captured by Big Mom, Luffy is knocked on the ground. It's desperate, it's serious, and One Piece is this type of series where it's like, okay, it's not completely serious all the time. So throwing some of that shit in there, I felt it was actually a breath of fresh air, because I've been on the edge of my seat with this fight. Like you've seen, I believe it was last review or the review before that, where I was like, this is going on top and going up there to potentially be one of the best or better fights in One Piece. Personally, I think this is, if not the best, then top 3 fights of the time skip so far, because it's just been really intense and, again, really desperate. I like it when my heroes have to struggle in the situations where they're supposed to struggle. struggle. This has been hyped up for many years upon years of going up against the Yonko crew and how deadly and fierce it is. And Luffy has no chance against Big Mom and even some of her subordinates. It's a struggle, but it also goes with their motif. And Oda's very specific with that as well, that the whole Big Mom pirates, a lot of it has to do with food. She's a fat bitch. She loves her some food. So her people rock with food. Luffy, and he even kind of broke the fourth wall in a way, but it was also going along with it of like, hey, cracker. I had to eat the crackers and shit like that to get through to him. And then now he had to eat the mochi. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, forgive me if I'm wrong, whatever, because, you know, One Piece is 800 plus chapters, you know what I'm saying? But I believe this is the first time where Luffy ate something that he really, really didn't like. I want to say maybe he said the same thing about the devil fruit when he was a little kid, when he ate the gum gum fruit. He thought it was nasty too. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I do think that as well. But like, this is one of the very first time, or one of the few times, where Luffy has ate something that he genuinely found to be nasty. Because normally Luffy, especially meat, he throws down, but he ate that mochi and it was kind of like, ugh. Now let's talk about Katakuri's mouth. I can't believe I'm analyzing somebody's mouth. Like, yo, ooh, them lip, nah. So Katakuri's mouth, I'm kind of curious where he belongs, what race. Could he be a fishman because he has the sharp teeth like a fishman? Could he be something along the lines of like Bartolomeo, because Bartolomeo has similar teeth, but I don't think Bartolomeo is a fishman. And then at the same time, he has the stitches that kind of reminds me of Crocodile. So there's a couple things that have me wondering, like, so what's the deal with Katakuri right now? What is Katakuri? What is his lineage? And you know what I'm saying? Because it's very interesting that it reminds me of a couple of different things. Again, Bartolomeo, the stitches from Crocodile and shit like that. And then it also makes me wonder if that's not like something that he was at birth and shit like that. Because it was like he started stabbing the cooks and shit like that. Like, whose mouth you talking about ripping open and shit like that? Maybe it could be that he ripped his own mouth open because he just wanted to keep chowing down. Maybe it could be that Big Mom, we know she's a piece of shit. She don't care really, even if you're her kids. Maybe Big Mom, when he was younger or something, ripped his mouth open or did some crazy shit. I don't know, but that really caught me off guard and was kind of interesting. Again, there's going to be some people that are a little bit disappointed because it's like, oh, so this is how Luffy finds Katakuri's weakness, and you're starting to see the turnaround. It slowly started happening last chapter, and this chapter is definitely a turnaround where you're starting to see Luffy is getting in some blows. Now, I'm like, okay, is it because this was Katakuri's break time and that's why he was able to get hits in? Could it be something to do when Katakuri opens his mouth? It's a weakness. Or maybe it's because Katakuri, he can only use one certain type of ability at a certain point. So that's why he's getting hits on Katakuri. Or maybe when his mouth is open, he can't even get a grasp of the future like he's been able to do using his haki. So there's a lot of questions going in there regarding Katakuri after the reveal of this chapter of finally seeing his mouth. Either way, I personally found it to be, again, a breath of fresh air. I'm not going to complain when we've had serious chapter upon serious chapter. This has been a deadly situation against Yonko. So yeah, throw a little bit of a funny thing in there with Katakuri. It threw me off guard, but it also showcased finally an end for Luffy to get some hits. It's debatable whether you think it's bullshit or not, or it's convenient writing, I guess. At the most, I wouldn't say bullshit. At the most, you could argue, hey, it's kind of convenient, just so how the fuck else is Luffy gonna get in it? You don't want to do, because I always hate when it's like, oh, somebody came in the right nick of time to save our hero, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a big fan of that, so he didn't go that route. He went a route that's kind of like, well, it's Katakuri's own fault in a way, because he thought he buried Luffy and went to go chill out. Luffy, you don't underestimate Luffy. I think that's possibly, now that I think about it, one of the first times throughout this entire fight where Katakuri not necessarily completely underestimated him, but he was like, he's down, I could go, and he was in a rush. And again, it all goes back to that's Katakuri's downfall. When he wants his break time, like, you know, there's some people throughout the day, they have that one specific time where they want their break, you know, whether they want a cigarette break, they want to roll up a blunt at 5 in the afternoon because, you know what I'm saying, that's their chill time or something like that. Katakuri he likes to lay on his back and eat donuts, and he wants to keep it a big secret because I guess maybe he prefers that legacy that he has out there. I never once laid on my back, bro. I never once. I ain't a weakling, you know what I'm saying? So interesting reveal, Katakuri as a whole. The chapter, definitely another very good chapter, good to a very good. I still say it's in the 7.5 to an 8. A lot of people are going to feel different ways about it because, again, this is the turning point. This is where Luffy finds the weakness, where hopefully now he can actually win in this fight against Katakuri, even though he kind of took an L. The whole Luffy being fat and losing, like, it's One Piece. Especially Luffy's body is not a typical body because he has the gum. He's a big rubber motherfucker. It's not going to be the same thing. So him losing the weight, that didn't bother me at all either. I think the only thing throughout this chapter that you could argue back and forth whether it was BS or not or convenient was, of course, that's where Luffy gets the end against Katakuri, of him laying down and shit like that. I still think Katakuri's a boss. I still think he's fucking awesome. It's just like, it humanizes him again. Like I said earlier, it humanizes him to not make him this larger than life creature, which, yeah, One Piece can do that, and of course this is a fictional story, but it makes him seem a little bit more down to earth, that there's that one point in the day where Katakuri is like everyone else and he wants to enjoy and indulge in whatever the case may be, and it goes in line, which again, I find that so brilliant of Oda, that he makes everybody in one way or another throughout the Big Mom Pirates go with food, because Big Mom's a fat bitch and loves her some food. So cool shit there. I'm gonna say 7.5 to an 8 for this one as well, more so leaning towards the 8. Luffy back up, Luffy throwing hits. This fight, I ain't gonna lie, even though we had a little bit of a downtime in this one where Luffy, we really thought, okay, Katakuri really got him, but Luffy's back up and shit like that. This has been an amazing fight, and honestly, this is some of my favorite parts. Like early on in this arc where we had like the Luffy versus Sanji shit, that was incredible stuff and great stuff too. Some of the pudding stuff where her nastiness was great. I think this is going up there in another one of the moments. And also, as a grand scale, I truly think that this is making this arc, the Whole Cake Island arc, hands down best arc in New World, but also putting it up there because, you know, people always talk shit about, hey, One Piece went downhill after the time skip. I think this is going up there with the arcs prior to the time skip and the quality of it. Kudos to it. Amazing shit. Kind of curious though, what you guys think. How do you feel about Katakuri? What do you think is his race, or, you know, where he falls into? Is it something similar to Bartolomeo? Is he a fishman? Is it something to do with crocodile? Also the stitches. Do you think that he ripped open his own mouth? Did Big Mom do some nasty shit to him back in the day? Maybe she wanted to torture him. She was like, I'm gonna rip your mouth open and shove. Maybe he stole some of her food, and in retaliation to that, as a punishment, she fucking ripped his mouth open and say, oh, you want my food? And shoved his mouth filled with shit. And, you know, overall thoughts of the chapter. How do you feel about this? Is the turning point where Luffy's finally gonna get some throws in? Are you disappointed that Katakuri's weakness essentially was that he likes to relax and get his own moment in, and also, you know, maybe it's something to do with the mouth and the, you know, the scars and shit like that? And your overall thoughts? Honestly, I'm still fucking hype as fuck. I still think Katakuri's a boss. He's just a little more humanized now. That's all I have for this one though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, bam! Have an awesome day.